Today, we're going to zoom in on a small but absolutely essential component that solves a huge problem in industrial automation. It's the Anzer 1781-IAXS. Let's take a look at how this little guy bridges a really critical gap. So picture any factory floor. You've got this core challenge, right? On one hand, you have massive, powerful machinery running on high voltage. And on the other, you've got these delicate, low-voltage digital brains. Your PLCs that have to control everything. The problem is, these two worlds, they just don't speak the same electrical language.
So that brings up the million-dollar question for any controls engineer. How in the world do you safely connect that high-voltage machinery to the sensitive, low-voltage brain of a controller? You can't just wire them together. No way. You'd literally fry the controller in an instant.
And the answer, my friends, lies in a class of devices called I/O modules. The best way to think of them is as essential translators. They stand right in the middle of that voltage gap, making sure the conversation between big power and small brain happens perfectly.
So here's the deal. An I/O module is basically an interface. It takes a powerful, high-voltage signal from something out in the field, like a sensor, and it safely converts it into a clean, low-voltage signal that a PLC can actually understand and use to make smart decisions. It's a bodyguard and a translator all rolled into one.
Now, there are a ton of different I/O modules out there. But today, we're putting a spotlight on a very specific and very common solution. The 1781-IAXS from Anzer.
This little component is designed to be a super robust solution for one of the most common headaches on the factory floor, getting those high-voltage AC devices to talk to your low-voltage DC logic controllers.
Let's break down the key specs here, because this is where it gets good. That input voltage range, 90 to 140 volts AC-DC, that's a huge deal. It perfectly covers the standard 120-volt AC signals you find all over North American industrial sites. Then it steps that down to a perfect 24-volt DC output, which is the gold standard for most controllers.
And hey, you see that yellow case? That's not just for looks. It's a perfect example of smart industrial design. That yellow color is basically a universal signal for an AC input module. It lets the technician see exactly what it does in a split second, even in a super crowded control panel.
Now, let's talk about cost. You might think something this important is expensive, right? Nope. This module typically runs you about $25. For that price, you're protecting controllers that cost thousands. It's kind of a no-brainer. And here's the other thing, availability. We're talking in stock, ready for same-day shipping. And if you've ever worked in maintenance or repair, you know that minimizing downtime is everything. Getting the part you need today is absolutely critical.
Okay, so to really get the full picture, you kind of have to look at the company that makes the component. The quality of a part like this really tells you a lot about the people who built it.
So, who exactly is Anzer USA, right? What makes them the kind of company you can trust to make a part that your entire system might depend on?
Well, Anzer USA isn't just some parts reseller. They are a full-service, US-based manufacturer. And look at what they do. We're talking aerospace assembly, medical assembly. This is serious stuff. Custom design, complex circuit boards, cable harnesses, the whole shebang. And all that experience points to one core belief. The reliability of your whole system depends on the quality of every single tiny part. I mean, when you're building parts for airplanes or medical equipment, you get that principle deep in your bones. And that same level of quality and care goes into all their products, including this I/O module.
So, after all that, it really boils down to one simple conclusion and one very clear next step for you.
So the question is, are you ready to finally bridge that voltage gap in your control system with a solution that's reliable, affordable, and ready to go right now?
So yeah, the 1781-IAXS is just a perfect, real-world example of how a simple I/O module solves that huge voltage gap problem in industrial controls. It's a great reminder that sometimes it's the smallest parts, backed by the best engineering, that play the most important roles. If this sounds like the solution you need, here's how you can get in touch with Anzer USA.